A quick update. Right now I've got the trenchers parked in a mud hole spot over here at the corner of the yard. But I was going to give you a little update on what I have done on the property since my last video post, and it's been a while. But we had a hurricane come through and I had a lot of mess to clean up and such. So anyway, back in the saddle. The porch is just about complete. They're still doing some wrapping up the wood to protect it from the weather. Some finish work on it, but the porch is done. On the main portion of the yard where I previously put my underground line, which starts up here, and my wires and utilities go down beyond there. This portion of the yard, even though we're not putting the patio in quite yet, and it'll have to require some more grading, I decided to go ahead and smooth it as much as I could at the time and go ahead and seed grass and put hay out here so I wouldn't have a mud hole all winter. It is October now, and before long we'll be getting more rain and more dampness. And I didn't want the backyard to be a total mud hole coming off the porch. So until we get the patio in, I went ahead and seeded grass in the flat area here. The other portion of the yard up here at the top corner, where I did my first exploratory dig a while back when I first brought the trencher up here, and I dug out a place to park the truck and the tractor. I took that dirt, which was piled across the back of the yard here, for the most part anyway, and filled this hill back in. And I also, this was before the hurricane, I also put hay down here and I seeded this. Now this area of the yard gets very little sun. It gets enough so that I have some germination on the grass. If you look down real close here in places, that's old grass there, but you can see a small sprig here and there. But over here in the other area of the yard, the further you get around and downhill looking across the patio area, I should call it, you can see the green. And this has only been planted or seeded for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm already developing a little green backyard here. And again, there's no rush on getting the patio in. We want this area to be a usable space and not be a sloppy mud hole all winter. So I've done that here. Another thing I did up here at the top of the hill, and I did this with the coyote with the box blade, is again, our yard used to come, if you look at the base of the house here in the yard, there used to be a slope here, a steep slope down. And what I've done is cut my new driveway in. And if you can see here, let me walk up the hill so you can get a better idea. Looking back here, I've cut in my new driveway area so it's graded away from the flat patio area. And actually when we had some really horrible rain, when the hurricane came through, it was actually Ian that came through. Water actually managed pretty well. Now I did put some extra material on the hill here to keep it from washing down with all the fresh seeds and hay. But the water I had come down the hill actually ran exactly where I wanted it to, right on the back graded side of the new driveway. Now, see right here in the back side. Now, long-term goal is to put a culvert to catch all the water from the top of the hill and take it behind the workshop over there where that mower is sitting now. Just a culvert around the back, because I do have a 20-foot deep gully in the woods beyond these holly trees. Now my next job, and I may or may not film it, here's some of the debris from the storm. I'm going to burn that when the wind dies down. Got a metal plate so it won't damage a drop cord I have running across the yard, an extension cord, just because I still haven't had a chance to fix the wiring problem I have in the building. But my next 2 projects are taking this pile of crush and run I have here and sifting that and flattening it down over the driveway up here. The long-term goal is we're going to terminate the driveway just beyond the porch here. So instead of a wraparound driveway completely around the house, we're just going to come around this end of the house and circle around the patio area, and then a small space to turn around up there, partially on the patio and partially where the trencher is sitting. Now my next job, like I say, besides the crush and run, or road bond, I'm not sure what other people call it. I've always called it crush and run. It's gravel and dirt powder mixture. Now these lines that I ran under the yard before, another job I have is dropping these in the ground here and taking them. I'm going to put a trench underneath these hollies here and bury these lines, both the one from the top of the yard and the one that is set in the ground for the gutter that's coming off the porch there. Also, you know, just to talk ad nauseum, I have an underground pipe currently, or actually it's a PEX line, a 1/2-inch PEX line that goes underground here. It's buried, and it goes to the shed where I have a sink that works in the shed. What I'm going to do is dig this spot up where that galvanized pipe is. I marked the spot in between where I probed and found the wire up here and down there at the shed. I'm digging a small hole here. I'm going to tie the blue PEX line that I ran under the hill up to the top up there. There's some coming out of the ground next to the trencher. I'm going to tie that into the line. I'm going to put a T in the line here and just tie it into this 1/2-inch line. Now both of these water lines, we have a well here on this property, but both of these water lines have a cutoff that shuts off all of my utility lines. So if I ever have a leak or a frozen pipe or anything to repair, I can go just underneath the house here in the crawl space, and there's just a little valve I can turn that off. So it's isolated from the rest of the house. It's water that comes straight from the well and doesn't go through the water filtration system either. So that's what I got ahead of me, and that's where I am. And I know it was a long-winded video, and I didn't show any equipment demonstrations or anything like that, but I'm also documenting this just so I can keep my feet to the fire and get this stuff done. So that's part of it. Now, another thing I will mention is this driveway here, the current driveway, is going to be moved further over, a little closer to the corner of the building, and this hill will be tapered down a little bit more on the back side of this grass. And the driveway will actually, where this driveway is, I anticipate burying that, or at least it being a gradual slope in the patio area down across here. And the new driveway is going to come around here. Again, the new driveway will terminate just beyond the porch up there. It will loop around the yard and come from the front yard, and we'll probably put a carport up here or a garage. We're still in talks about that right now. But that's what's going on. And I'll update you when anything else happens. And if I post any video, I'll post that up here too.